So, one of four, and my oldest brother is off to college by the time I'm 8 years old, right?
Yeah.
So you get to be the baby of the family, and you get to be the only child for a period of time.
And I know, as the older sibling myself,
you knew I'm spoiled. Right?
I know you're spoiled rotten.
Absolutely, absolutely right.
You got away with everything, didn't
yes,
you?
I did. Yes.
Something tells me you still do.
I do. Like, no is not part of the vocabulary. No, you may not have that, really.
Hey, that's why you're sitting here today.
Exactly.
Actually,
and
and
get away with a lot of stuff, and you just learn, oh, you can.
Yeah.
Yes, I can.
Yeah. Well, and thank you for joining the podcast, by the way. We're very grateful to have you here. Yeah, super excited. Up and rolling, and you drove down from Boulder today, did you not?
I did.
Yeah.
Yep. One of the companies that I work with is up there, Quist Valuation, doing some rockin' fun stuff that really actually helps to support the entrepreneurial community as well.
Yeah.
As companies get ready for merger acquisition, they get ready for Series A funding, that kind of thing.
Mm-hmm.
So I get to work with them and help them figure out strategies on product rollout and all kinds of fun things.
Yeah. So I definitely want to get into that. First things first, let's start like back, and you already know because I did the same thing to Ash and made him go way back to back in India and all that good stuff. Tell me, what was your childhood like? Where did you grow up? Where were you born?
All that fun stuff.
All that fun stuff.
Yeah. So, born in Texas, Southeast Texas, and at the age of 3, my family and I moved to Kuwait. So we lived there for about 5 years. So my second language is Arabic.
Wow.
And but it's only street Arabic. So when
why
speak,
Kuwait? Why did they move to Kuwait?
Oil.
Okay.
So my dad was an industrial engineer and heavily into the refining process for modifying the petrochemical products that come out of the ground right there on site in Kuwait National Petroleum Company. So he was there to help teach them how to do the refining process. And then after about 5 years there, we moved to Saudi Arabia with Aramco. You may have heard of that in Dhahran. And then moved to Lebanon for a couple of years.
Wow.
7 different countries.
Wow.
And started speaking French while I was there in Lebanon, because everybody speaks French.
In Lebanon?
Yeah, French and Arabic. It's very much...
really?
Yes.
Very fun. I'm sure most people don't know that.
Maybe not.
Do most people seem surprised?
No, not usually. Most people... so it's known as the Paris of the Middle East.
Wow.
Yeah, it's very cosmopolitan, and they have a beautiful beach there called the Corniche, and you can go sunbathing and swimming in the afternoon.
Yeah.
In the morning you go skiing in the mountains. So yeah, it's really a fun place to live. And then wars came, and we fled, and we went to Iran for a while, for about a year, and then...
When was this? What year was this?
Right, in the 70s, right before the Shah then became deposed, not very long after that.
Wow.
So we were there in tumultuous times, but it doesn't really change.
Yeah.
Interestingly, it doesn't actually change people. People just keep on. Every about 10 years, Lebanon seems to go through a cycle and upheaval. So,
which one was your favorite out of all of them?
In the Middle East, I really enjoyed Lebanon.
Really?
Yeah, the people there with the mixture of Christianity and Islam and the Druids that are there, people really learn to actually get along quite nicely with each other. It's a very small country in a very small space. So, but people learn to get along quite well.
Is it very tech modern? Like...
now
I'm ignorant about that.
It is a bit more than most places. Yes, it's a fairly modern, country. As the Middle East goes, I would say probably Dubai and some places like that are further ahead because they have a lot more money. So money tends to get you there. Yeah. But so yeah, and then we moved to Belgium and then finally France and came back. My dad said, okay, I think you need to learn the Pledge of Allegiance and a few things about the United States, and given you might think about going to college there, we'd like you to stay in the States for college. so we came back to Texas.
Man, and what age were you at this point?
For high school.
Oh, so you started like freshman year of high school back in Texas?
Yes.
Wow.
Culture shock?
Probably a little bit.
Yes. Oh my gosh.
And when you go, when you're around in foreign countries for a long time and you hear all the different languages, and then you understand everyone's conversations.
Right. Yes. Yeah,
but you can speak fluent Arabic then.
I don't speak fluently anymore.
Uh-huh.
When I was younger, I did, and my French is much better than my Arabic, and German is in the mix. And when I went to work for Texas Instruments for a few years, for about 5 years in semiconductor manufacturing, they allowed us to take Japanese, so I studied Japanese so that I could manage some of the programs that we were implementing in Japan, in Hato, Japan. So it helps when you know the language and the culture.
That's amazing.
So yeah, that's the background.
So from high school, you went off, and so your dad was an engineer.
Yep.
Was your mom a homemaker at this point?
Yep.
Okay.
Yeah, she ran an amazing amount of things.
And you did that with all your older brothers were with you that whole time too?
By the time I was 8 and they were 18, they were all back in the States for college.
Oh, gotcha.
Yeah,
okay.
It's the very only child kind of environment. They would come like once or twice a year. It's expensive to go around the world, around the world to travel, to visit.
A little bit.
Yeah. It's not like you can drive even across country.
Right.
So,
but in the 70s, maybe a little better?
That was the jet set days.
Yeah?
Yeah.
Gotcha.
70s into 80s, it was definitely jet setter times. And we flew first class, and those were nice times.
And I'm sorry, who was your dad working for at this?
Several different companies.
Okay, gotcha.
We went overseas initially with Kuwait National Petroleum Company.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Very cool.
So then, university at Texas, 4 years at UT in Austin, studying engineer, following my dad's footsteps. At the time, I didn't know he was an industrial engineer. I just knew he was an engineer.
Yeah.
But I know sometimes how kids miss these things. I know
I
my
was
own
wondering
sons.
about that too, because you're a marketing salesperson.
Right, like how does that connect?
But you went to you went all the way. You graduated as an engineer.
Yeah,
that's incredible.
Yeah, 4 years in mechanical engineering. So I have a minor in mechanical and then my 50 in industrial. Yeah, it is.
I just did marketing.
You just
or like a degree in common sense is what I call it.
It's a perfectly fine thing.
Right.
Not just it's a good thing.
Yeah.
People need that creative.
Yeah, but if you can go for engineering and have a sales marketing mentality, that's like a double
whammy.
Yeah, big time.
Yeah, it's an interesting mix.
Uh-huh.
And I did engineering, process engineering for the first probably third of my career, and then jumped into the entrepreneurial world, and then really decided that I preferred smaller companies to really large corporate with all the politics that go along and all those fun things.
Is that why? Because of all the politics you faced in
the reason I jumped into my first company was actually, it was, as so often is the case, more of a happening.
Mm-hmm.
I was at Texas Instruments, I've been there about 5 years on one of their fast tracks into management. As a young whippersnapper, you kind of don't know what you don't know. You don't know that that's actually a really cool thing. You think, oh, well, it's pretty much everybody's doing these same kind of things. You don't realize it. And I have, as is common in TI, at Texas Instruments, they have dual reporting structures and a parallel organizational structure. It's very cool and somewhat complex. But I reported into the director of finance for the department as well as the IT. Because I did a lot of projects coming out of college with an engineering background and computer background. In the time, it was very unique. And as a semiconductor manufacturing, you think, gosh, they should know all about computers. They were just implementing computers in their manufacturing facilities to run their processes. It was all by manual books. It was books that were passed around to say the instructions and the testing was all with these notebooks. And of course, that's a lot of particulates, and it kills your scrap rate of your semiconductors that you're manufacturing on these little disks. So we decided, okay, we're going to put computers in here and cut that scrap out. And
so you got the fun task of taking the data and putting it...
Oh, no, I ran the entire project.
Yeah.
Of fully implementing and saying, okay, I have to train on it. It's 24/7 operation, so go in there and train those people. These are mainly a lot of black women who were undegreed, high school education, GED, a few black males, and then some white males and females, but predominantly black women in there, about 35 to 50-year-olds. And I'm in there as a young 25-year-old whippersnapper going, okay, you report to me, and we're going to get this done. And they're right. But I was really
because nobody humbled. Tells me no.
Well, that's true, but I was very quick to recognize that they knew a lot more than I did.
Yeah.
So I asked a lot of questions, and they knew exactly how it should be done and the fastest way and the most efficient way. So all I had to do was ask the questions, and they would tell me, oh, well, we should do this now. Oh, brilliant, let's do it.
Yeah.
And I was there to kind of help, the only female supervisor in an all-male, supervisor, director level, and
it's
management
very
level.
male-dominated industry.
Yes. In Texas.
Do you know Jill Tejan, by the way?
The name's very familiar.
She's like major player in the STEM community.
Oh, fun.
Here, yeah. You guys should, if you don't know each other, I got it. She was on our very second episode. Yeah,
Awesome.
you guys would get along very well.
Yeah, so it was, it was a lot
her.
of fun. I had to stand up for them a lot. They got dissed by HR and all kinds of stuff. I had to go fight for their raises for them. I'm like, no, just because
Just
they're
by
women.
HR, because they're all women in there?
I don't know what their issue was. I honestly don't, and I just didn't really at the time care. I'm like, no, these guys all got their raises, so guess what? These women, you need to explain to me how I'm going to tell them that they can't have their raise. And so they loved me. The women did. So we did a fantastic job of making that run very smoothly. And then after about 5 years, a lot of different projects and things, all pretty much process focused, process reengineering and business process. One of my cohorts there, his name was on the list for a RIF, and he was my boss on this side. And I also worked reduction in force.
Oh, okay.
So there was a big layoff coming. But I was in the finance department, so I was privy to all that information. And he was on the IT side, and who I reported to over there, and he didn't know. So I went to my finance director and said, you know what? Here's the thing. He's got family, he's got, little kids and a mortgage, and he loves it here. And how about we take my name and put my name on there, and I'll take my smaller severance package, and you can let him stay here, and I will go do other fun things. Because frankly, Dallas was not my favorite place.
So you're planning on getting out of there anyways.
I was, exactly. And the opportunity
I'm putting in my
presented,
2 weeks notice in a roundabout kind of way,
exactly.
I guess.
I'm like, you know what, let's do a really cool thing for him. And I never told him. And then I just ended up moving to Colorado and started my first company at 29. And
so this was about
client.
28 or 27 by the time you left there? Okay, so you worked there for 6-7 years
5 years.
So? 5 years?
Yeah,
okay.
5.5 years.
Gotcha.
And then moved to Colorado.
Why Colorado?
Love the lifestyle here. When you live all over the entire world and you travel all the time, you kind of get to see the very best of everything. And then you kind of go, oh, wow, what do I really like? What do I really enjoy? And I just love the sense of community in Colorado. I think it's really, really strong. I love the outdoor scene. I'm a big avid. I climb 14ers, 2 of them every summer. Bring my sons along since they were yay high, and now they run up the mountain with me, and they're like, "You're too slow, Mom." So we have a lot of fun with that, and mountain biking. And this summer we were out water skiing, and so we spend a lot of time outdoors. And then, if it snows, we're on the golf course, cross-country skiing on the course.
Okay.
So, we just have a lot of fun with it.
That's awesome.
Colorado, just the lifestyle here.
And had you been here before you?
Yeah, I had, in high school, I had come several times with friends to go skiing in Winter Park and loved that experience, of course. And so I just thought, out of all and I've been to California a bunch, I've been in New York and all the, Florida and all that.
It's hard to beat.
It's a really great, awesome state. So
it's right in the hub.
It is,
everything,
and there's just so much. There is so much entrepreneurial stuff going on. People that want to make a difference, that want to give back to the community, which is just resonates with me because that's kind of how my mom and dad brought me up. When we were overseas, my mom, while she didn't work, she was very philanthropic and spent a lot of time helping rescue women who were in Arabic, countries in marriages that were, they were very poorly, treated.
Right.
Not everybody but
they're mostly all forced marriages.
No, I wouldn't say that. They're arranged. Arranged.
Yeah.
But,
what's the difference? Between a
there is a definite difference.
Is there? Okay.
There is. Yeah.
Okay. Maybe I'm just being a little too crude here.
We all think that that's such a old-fashioned and not such a great idea, but you'd be surprised how accurate parents are at actually assessing, like, oh, I think you would actually get along with this person and be good friends as well as, make a great partnership. So it's not all that terrible. But at any rate, she will definitely, we would help women get out of those situations, and some of them to get out of the country. It was kind of the Underground Railroad going on with my mom. Yeah. So you learn that early on.
And how did she
get
involved in that through church? And everything?
That was the first thing we ever did in the country was go find the church. You get to the country, within 1 or 2 weeks, you find the church, because that is a community where you can count on expatriates and others. Not always expatriates, but oftentimes that's the case. And you're the only white face in a very dark crowd. you can understand these things. So it's something that you learn to do. And in that community, they were always doing community outreach, from the church to help. So that's kind of how that got started. And so it was kind of bred into me early on, you need to be contributing and adding value to the community. So get to Colorado and go live up in the mountains within a year, because I said to myself, if I'm going to live in Colorado, I'm living in the mountains. Like you can live in any city anywhere.
So you didn't start in Boulder; you were in a mountain town.
Yeah, I was in Indian Hills.
Okay,
and so I started on the fire department.
Where is Indian Hills?
It's out 285.
Okay, so it's not like
it's in the foothills.
Oh, okay, gotcha.
Morrison.
Okay,
Red Rocks
yeah,
right down the road.
I know Red Rocks. Yes, hopefully.
That's where it's at.
Yeah.
So so I moved there and had a great cabin and made a killing on it when I sold it a few years later.
At this point?
Just myself.
Okay, gotcha.
Yeah. And then after the first company, got it launched and had a client within the first year, thought I knew what I was doing. So often we just go off and we do things. We're too stupid to know what we don't know, right?
Right.
And so went along for several years and then realized, oh gosh, it's getting a little harder and I have no idea about this thing called marketing and sales. Like clueless. So
what was your first business?
Consulting services for implementing enterprise level software like Oracle Financials, SAP, ERP systems. I would work with companies like MCI and Quest, and which US West at the time, and then became Quest, and they were both clients of mine subsequently. Intel, those were all clients of mine where I'd go in, talk with their executive team. They'd say, yep, we got these problems. I'd say, okay, here's some vendors out there. Bring the vendors in, coordinate the reviews and demos and all of the different criteria we'd use to grade them, and then they'd pick their vendor solution, and then I'd oversee that entire project, which is usually a multi-year project, minimum one, oftentimes 1.5, 2 years, and eventually when you learn to bring them in within 10% of budget, and it's $100,000 to $1 million projects.
They're pretty happy with you.
They're pretty happy about that.
Yeah.
And you get it in on time, like within 30 days, plus or minus.
Yeah.
On a 1.5 long thing, a year, and a quarter, they're like, "Ooh, okay."
Was this just on your own, or you had a team?
So I would always pull the team together.
Okay, gotcha.
But it depended on which software it was, as to which team would be the expert team that would be able to do their implementation.
Okay, cool. So you're like the Avengers of software implementation.
That's it. Yeah. Go in there,
or
have
DC,
fun.
DC, whichever. Wait, what are they called? The Justice League. That's
Justice
the
League. There we go. So that's what I started out doing, and then, and I had clients that I would travel around and all over the U.S. But
how did you get business?
That's
at that
the
point,
thing. When you're really good, people just keep referring. So I would be done with one project, and then the next one would just sort of magically appear. And I'm like, oh, okay, I guess this is how this works. And then eventually the economy didn't, hold out.
Right.
And so you go, oh, wow, I guess I have to actually learn how to do this sales and marketing thing. So I stepped into another position where I was a VP of a firm that produced the software for managing project management.
Okay, gotcha.
And then they eventually were acquired, and I helped to get them from about $5 million to $10 million in revenue. So small companies.
Were they local here?
Well, they're actually based out of California.
Okay, gotcha.
Bay Area, San Francisco. But I was handling the region here, Western region, and so got to learn how you actually do a little bit of sales and marketing, and then decided that the travel that they talked about and what I was doing was not going to work. So no more travel for me, because that was like...
They're sending you to clients all over.
Yes.
Yeah, all over the world, or
no,
US
mostly
based?
the U.S. But it was Monday through Friday.
Right.
Come home, do your dry cleaning.